boy. Hi. My name is Angus Scrim, and you are listening to Loathsome Things, a horror movie podcast. My name is actually John. I know it's a shock. With me, as always, my co-host Josh. Josh, how are you doing, sir?
I am confused, but doing quite well. I have never paid attention to this movie before today. Sometimes I got confused yester episode.
Sure.
When you announced that we would be doing this, I did the thing that I always do. Whenever I hear that it's this movie, I think the movie Scanners, because when I think about this movie, I think about those little silvery balls, and for some reason in my brain, those are scanners. So I was like, oh yeah, cool. But then no, actually, this is a different movie. I don't know where that came from.
Scanners is a great movie. I would love to do that. There's so many of his movies I want to do.
Yeah.
But this isn't one of them.
But
this
isn't that one!
This is a fine, fine film that came out in 1979. I remember when it came out, I was, 11? And everybody talked about it at school because of the trailers. They were like, dude, did you see the silver ball? And everybody was losing their mind, and no one went to see it because everyone was too scared.
Oh, shit.
We were too young, and we were all, talking a bunch of shit, and then later it's like, so did you see it? No. How about you?
Scary.
Fuck that. And then when I finally saw it, I was like, wow, it's not scary at all. But it's awesome.
It's not scary, but it makes me uncomfortable.
It does. It's its own world. Don Coscarelli's world building. I mean, he's profoundly influenced other movies such as, The Void.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, it's like this weird sci-fi horror subgenre that he pretty much just created all by himself. It's awesome.
It's got elements of the kids on bikes type of thing, it
E.T.?
feels like E.T. It feels like even older ones like the Apple Dumpling Gang, or
Nice.
It's very Stranger Things type thing, because it's this kid going around and spying on adults and having to convince the adults that a bad thing is happening. And then there's also weirdly silly moments in it that are completely off tone and would fit perfectly in a movie like that. But then there's also gigantic full-breasted Hollywood titties and also literal fountains of blood shooting out of foreheads.
So good. Yeah, it reminded me of, because that was around the time that I would have seen Salem's Lot, the TV production that was like a little mini series, and that movie or that series or whatever completely destroyed my life, as apparently it did a lot of other people of my generation. So because I read it all the time, like on Twitter, or excuse me, on X, people will say post a meme of the movie that ruined you as a child, and so many people post the scene from Salem's Lot where the kid is at the window. Let me in, tap, tap. Everyone talks about that scene like it just traumatized them. That scene fucking ruined me.
Yeah.
But for some reason the reason I associate it with Salem's Lot is because Salem's Lot, Phantasm is like this ridiculous pal, buddy movie, or it's establishing this ridiculous buddy movie concept where it's like the young kid and the older guy driving around trying to defeat the old evil guy in the big house, which is pure Salem's Lot.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. The little niche that it created for itself. It's a wild story. It's not like anything else that you see, but it's got it's got that little kids on bikes element. It's got the buddy across town Supernatural, the TV series vibe at times, but it's just wildly off the wall, and the fact that it turns into a sci-fi around the halfway point is just bonkers. I love it. I love this movie. I definitely recommend everyone see it. It's good.
It's good, and apparently it has the Bene Gesserit in it as well. I don't know what the fuck that was about.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff in here. So not only does he have to stick his hand in a pain box where it turns out that fear is the real enemy, there's also at a certain point he shoves his head through a portal and ends up on Arrakis, and
Yes.
Also, the bar that they go to is called the Dunes Cantina.
Yes!
So it's like...
Coscarelli must have just been obsessed with that book, which, I mean, you can't blame him. It's a great fucking book.
Yeah. And he also had a hard time because they did all of this before the first Star Wars movie came out, but then the Star Wars movie came out before this, and they were still filming. And they were like, oh, look, Jawas. They look exactly like our dudes. We should redesign our dudes, right? And he's like, no, we already filmed this stuff with our dudes. We're just leaving it in. I can't pay for any more camera time.
Yeah, I can't pay for any more rent it on Friday, return it on Monday camera time.
They only filmed on the weekends because, I mean, that's really smart.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, Coscarelli is funny because he doesn't really get as much respect as guys like, like Carpenter or, I mean, it's funny because there really aren't any directors that are kind of assigned to the Friday the 13th thing because it was all over the place. But like, what's his nuts that did Nightmare on Elm Street, Wes Craven, and
yeah,
he's not up there with those guys for some reason, but he damn well ought to be.
Yeah,
because he completely. He didn't really riff on someone else's idea. He pretty much just came up with his own, which I guess was loosely based, or it was partially based on its dream that he had of a murderous silver sphere.
Yeah. No, the whole story of making this movie is wild because it's all over the place. It just took bits from everything. Part of it is to write this, he went on a solo retreat to write the script for it. His mom was very involved in it,
yes.
And then wrote a novelization about it 30 years later.
500 pages?
Yeah.
What? Wait a minute, you wrote 150,000 words about this shit? I think it was only 500 copies, that's what it was.
Yeah, 500 copies. The bit with the tuning fork on the guitar, that was the actor that plays that character and his wife came up with that. And I'm like, but why?
It could have been a really cool idea, but they just don't flesh it out.
Yeah. But there's a lot of that in this movie. If anything happens in this movie, it happens twice. So, everything that happens has a foreshadowing, and then it does it again. It's very strange.
It is very strange. This movie has some of the best music of any horror film, period, hands down. It's instantly recognizable. The weird electronic drones that carry on through the movie, including the rising tone through the climax of the film, is absolutely brilliant. It's so good.
Yeah. I would say it's Carpenterian, but this came out the same year as Halloween, and it's like they both went to the same store.
Yeah, they went to the Goblin store and bought their soundtracks.
Yeah, they were both drinking the same water whenever they composed those movies.
Fortunately, they were not drinking the water from whatever in the darkness or whatever the hell that terrible movie was we just reviewed.
Yeah. Don't drink that
my
water.
God.
Oh, fuck yeah. So yeah, this movie is great. Let's see, content warnings. It deals with death. It's super dark. So while it kind of does have that E.T., Stranger Things vibe, it's also a bit more like Pan's Labyrinth, in that it's like a kid's adventure movie, but with really dark shit behind it. That's true. Yeah, it really is. That was one of the things that appealed to us when we were young. It's like, oh, well, he's young. And, then we were like, how could he have made this movie? How could he not be so scared? We're just such idiots. That kid's so cool. He has a motorbike and he works on a car. He's got long hair except for one scene where it's short, and then the next time you see him, it's long again. Yeah, and his best friend doesn't have hair.
Best friend / lover.
Yeah. Also, he has a maid with one line.
Oh my god, because... Jesus Christ. I love how these guys live in houses. Like, what... I don't even know what Jody does for a living. Maybe their dad was rich and they inherited money. Reggie has his own house because he drives an ice cream truck. Like, you could buy a palatial house in California, like up in the hills, and all you had to do was drive an ice cream truck in a small town, and you're golden.
Oh man, and let me tell you, that ice cream truck is in every scene. You can't just go around town and not see Reggie in his ice cream truck.
Nobody ever in that town said, "I wish there was more ice cream."
Yeah. If I know anything about this town, there's a bar, there's mobile ice cream, and apparently a lollipop store.
And so many people die because that mortuary is fucking enormous.
Oh man, the only place to have sex in the whole town is the graveyard.
I love how that house is so big. It has like 2 areas: a mausoleum, 3, a basement, and some weird like gateway to hell room. I don't know. It's like, yes. That's the whole place.
I love that in the trivia for this movie, they're like, did you know that the mausoleum area wasn't actually made of marble? It was contact paper on a set. It's like, oh, you don't say. It looks like shit, but it works.
Oh, it was plywood with contact paper.
Yeah.
Wow, what a shock.
Who could have guessed?
Of course, as a kid, I didn't even notice that. I was just like, well, where did they find this cool mausoleum?
I mean, it looks good. It just doesn't look real. It's sufficiently creepy.
Yeah, and the fakeness of it is like gives it this weird uncanny valley element to where it just kind of almost makes it better in a way.
Yeah. It's got big Red Room energy.
It does. I love this movie.
The actors never did anything else there, except for more Phantasm movies. But the director, Don Coscarelli, he went on to direct basically all the other Phantasm movies. He also directed The Beastmaster, which I haven't seen, but it looks fucking awesome.
It's so good.
He directed a Dio music video, as well as Bubba Hotep, and
That's
John
right.
Dies at the end.
He made the last in line, didn't he?
He did.
He
That's
did.
him.
Oh my god, that video is so ridiculous. That's the one where Dio is wielding the huge sword and fighting on the top of a high-rise.
Yeah.
We're the last in line! It's so good.
I know we've already had one Dio music video recommended to us. Maybe our bonus content should be we just review Dio music videos.
It was that video. That was the one.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, man. The one with, like, Borg and shit in it?
Yes, and what was that? What Ramon recommended it, and what was it that he mentioned? He sent me, I don't know if you saw it or not, he sent me something that was like a alternate screenplay to Phantasm or something. I'm gonna have to look that up. That's fucking crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, one more piece of trivia. Apparently this movie is what inspired Lemmy to write the song The Ace of Spades.
What?
Because I don't know, it sounds like a myth to me. But according to mythology, Lemmy was watching this movie in theaters and he thought that Mike's face looked like an ace of spades because of the shape of his nose. And then right there in the theater started writing lyrics down with like a pencil that some guy gave him.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's too weird.
Yeah.
Your nose reminds me of a spade.
Man, that kid's face looks like the ace of spades. Let's write a song about how cool gambling is.
Oh my god, that's so good. Oh my god. Woo!
All right, we're going into it. Let's get started. The movie opens. There's sex happening in a graveyard. The woman pulls out a Clue-style dagger and kills the dude with it. The dude, man, he's got facial hair. Then That lady who you saw one boob of turns into an old, tall man. More on this guy later. Cut to daylight at Morningside Funeral Home. A guy named Jody with gorgeous hair and a guy named Reggie with horrible hair. Can't believe Tommy killed himself. We're led to believe that Tommy was the weird facial hair guy who got stabbed by one boob.
Yeah, Tommy's a douche.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Mike, an adorable little girl, rides his dirt bike through the graveyard and then sees Jawas hiding behind gravestones.
They're always like, just running off screen.
There's lots of little, like, going around, just around corners. Yes. Inside of the aforementioned marble mausoleum area, Jody is confronted by the tall man who we saw transform out of a one-boobed, blonde Hollywood lady, who says, "The funeral is about to begin, sir."
It's so good.
Angus Scrim is such a good name, and not his real name.
That's a shame that it's not his real name, because that's classic.
I know. His real name's Rory. Oh, no.
What a dick.
Joey and Reggie talk about how good it is that Mike didn't come to Tommy's funeral because Mike kept having nightmares for weeks after their parents' funeral. Aha, exposition. Clever.
Yeah, deep.
Outside, Mike is spying on the funeral with his binoculars. Much heaviness is visually granted to the casket as we see like 6 or 8 dudes struggling to carry it around in the most ridiculous funeral clothes you've ever seen. Of course, Reggie would show up to a funeral in a purple double-breasted suit.
It's so fucking weird. I love that little conversation they have, and then all of a sudden Jody's like, "Well, I'm gonna go in. I got someone to talk to."
Yeah. Mike sees, then, after everyone leaves, Mike sees the tall man lift the casket into the hearse single-handedly, just picks it up and boop, pops it in there. That freaks him out a little bit. Then the Carpenterian music swells up as Mike hikes to a fortune teller. Even though he has a dirt bike, he is now on foot. He goes inside. It's a fortune teller plus granddaughter who have matching stars drawn on them. The grandmother can hear but apparently not speak, so the granddaughter does all of the speaky bits. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. I said the grandma looks like Ozzy.
Yeah, she does! Aw, the little grandmother Prince of Darkness herself.
That's right.
That's great. He tells the fortune teller that he learned that Jody is going to leave, and now we switch to footage of Jody driving his Plymouth Barracuda like a complete asshole.
Total.
Great car, terrible human being. And then we see that Mike enjoys working on the Barracuda. Then, while Mike is working on the Barracuda, some really beige neighbor shows up with condolences, talks to Jody about how much action he must be getting out there in the real world and how he must hate being stuck in this town. Jody's like, yeah, fuck this town. He says he's thinking of sending Mike off to live with his aunt, and then talks about how weird it is that Mike follows him. So now, within this, cut scene to that happening, there's now a further cut scene of Mike following Jody everywhere that Jody goes.
So weird.
But now Jody's on a bicycle.
Yeah.
And Mike is just running behind him like a doggy, just barely not tripping over shit in the background. And I don't understand what's happening. And then, okay, now, zip back to the fortune teller. She's like, nah, don't worry, because even if Jody does leave, he'll take you with him. And then he's like, oh, okay, now here's the other thing. And then he tells the story of seeing the tall man putting the casket into the hearse, and we see that footage over again, but now they've added extra footage where Mike drives off on his dirt bike, but the bike malfunctions, and then the tall man uses the force to knock him off the bike, or something.
And then he gets on it and rides away.
Yeah, and then it's fine. And then after, now, whoop, back to the fortune teller. All of a sudden, a black box has appeared on the table. Mike's like, oh, how'd you do that? Neat. And Grandma wants him to put his hand into the black box a la Dune. It latches onto his hand. It hurts. There's the whole fear is the killer. It was all in your mind bit. And then he leaves. And then as he leaves, the granddaughter and grandmother giggle together.
I love that giggle.
I don't know what the joke is, but they're having a great time.
Oh, it's a knee slapper, whatever it is.
Meanwhile, Jody is on the front porch with all of his amplifiers and a hat that he only wears in this scene. Reggie pulls up in his real shitty-looking ice cream truck with a guitar that has, a convenient guitar, holster on the side of the ice cream truck. He whips that bad boy out, and they just start jamming like two cool dudes.
Oh, man, two 70s dudes just getting down.
After that's done, and really grossly, Reggie pulls out a tuning fork, does the thing, puts it against there, and then shoves his fingers onto the end. Is that how tuning forks work? Do you shove your fingers onto the two prongs of a tuning fork in order to... Is that how they work?
No, you hit one of the forks on something, and then you set that ball down, and it plays a tone. It's 440 megahertz, if I remember. It's like the A note, if I remember. And you just, the only reason you would touch the prong is to stop it from vibrating, not to foreshadow a gate to another dimension.
Well, they do that, and they really focus in on it. Look at his tuning fork! Oh my god!
Every time I see that scene, I forget that it means something, and I don't know what it means. That's probably why. But every time I see it, I'm like, why is he doing that? And then I see the things later, and I'm like, oh, that's right.
Yeah. While this is happening, a blonde girl, possibly the fortune teller's granddaughter, but we don't really... It's hard to see because they don't show her face very much. The distinguishing feature of the fortune teller's granddaughter is that she's a blonde girl and she has a star drawn on her face.
Yes, there's a lot of blonde girls in this movie.
Yeah, only blonde girls.
Yeah, and they're pretty interchangeable.
Yeah, any one could be two of another. Anyway, so she goes into Morningside Funeral. We get the feeling that it might be the fortune teller's granddaughter because it's it started right after they giggled. I don't know what's going on. But she opens a door in the mausoleum area. The door, when it opens, the room is full of brightness, and then the girl screams, and then that's over, and it only barely gets picked up again later on in the movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Nope.
Jody pulls up to the Dunes Cantina, get it? And Mike is watching him. He watches him from the window as Jody picks up a booby Hollywood lady. He leaves with her. It's the same lady from the beginning of the movie, and guess where they're gonna go to have sex? The graveyard! So Mike follows them and smiles whenever he gets to see her boobs, and then Mike ends up getting, rushed by a Jawa. He runs and screams, which of his path of running goes right by Jody, who is mid pulling his pants down. Jody then, with a mouthful of dirty cotton panties that he just won't let go of, goes, "Oh, it's my brother! I'll be right back. I think he's got something wrong with him." And then he runs while he's pulling up his pants and has dirty panties dangling from betwixt his teeth.
It's like a really, really bad sight gag. I don't know what a really good sight gag is exactly, but this is a bad one.
Yeah, it's not good.
No. So Mike takes off. Jody's chasing him. He catches up to him. We get some stupid line about a gopher in heat. And now they're, they have their little talk, hey, well, you follow me around. I saw Jawa. Okay, there are panties in your mouth, whatever. So then they go back, or Jody goes back to find the girl. She's gone. Great. We cut to Mike, who's in bed. He's having a dream that it turns out he basically wakes up in a dream or whatever. His bed is in the cemetery, very brightly backlit, with the tall man standing over the bed with his hands on the headboard, looking down at him, and two giant, not giant, but two corpses come up, like one on either side of the bed, jump out and grab Mike. Oh, wow. Really scary. Next day, Mike sees the tall man in town walking in slow motion down the sidewalk, wearing a Beatles suit and platform boots. I don't know what the hell's going on there. And he's basically strutting like he's on his way to an audition for the Bee Gees or whatever. And he like walks up and he like passes by Reggie's ice cream truck parked on the side of the road. And then he kind of stops, and there's like this weird interchange where Reggie, who doesn't even notice the tall man, opens the doors to the ice cream truck, and he apparently has like a smoke machine in there because all this fog is like pouring out. And the tall man is like, oh, ooh, like waving the cold air towards himself, like, oh, like he's getting off on it. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
It's such a good scene. It's
so cool, but it makes no sense. And
no sense.
As I described it, the tall man cops bone over the ice cream fog. Okay, Mike sees all that from across the street. That's fine. And then we're back to the Dunes Cantina, where Jody's talking to the bartender, who has one of those fucking garters around his arm, like he serves sarsaparilla or some shit. And they're talking, and he's asking him if he saw the girl, and no, great, whatever, no one cares. It's not that interesting. Meanwhile, Mike is back home in the garage. He's dicking around with Jody's car. He's up underneath. He starts hearing the sound in the garage, and then the car starts doing the wibbly wobblies, and he's kind of like, oh, what's going on? I'm scared. And then the car gets pushed off the jack, trapping Mike between the car and the ground, and Mike grabs a hammer, and he hits what he thinks is a Jawa, but it turns out to be Jody, and it makes like a thunk noise.
It's so stupid.
It's like, hey, why'd you do that? What are you doing under there? It's like, what is happening?
He bonks him on the toe with a hammer, and it makes a silly cartoon noise. Why?
And then they talk. He's like, I swear, there was one of those things was in here, a dwarf or whatever. It's really ridiculous. So that's fine. So then Mike decides later at night, or whatever, it could be the next night, who knows. He sneaks out of the house, on his way to the Morningside funeral home, cemetery / place. He can't open the gate, so he climbs over. He lurks his way around the front of the house, finds a basement window, very quietly kicks the shit out of it, and has glass go everywhere. And then does that thing where he like looks to one side, then he looks to the other, and then he climbs into the hole. And, there's a casket and some moving boxes, and he bumps the moving boxes and knocks a styrofoam head with a blonde wig on it over, which makes no sense.
I know the story behind that.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a cat, but they couldn't get a cat, so they didn't know what to do, and the lady in charge of hair was like, what about one of my wigikins?
What about no? It's so anticlimactic, like it just lands in his hands and he's like, oh, a wig, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that was scary.
Worth it.
Yeah, totally worth it. So now he's upstairs, I assume. I don't know where the hell he is in the house, but he's in the casket displaced sales room with all the open caskets, and he's walking around. He hears the door, which is extremely loud. Sounds like it's slamming, but apparently it opens. And some guy with a lot of facial makeup walks in, wearing a jumpsuit. I guess he's supposed to be the gravedigger. So Mike hides in a casket somehow. I don't know how he was able to do that with the guy walking in, but he is. So now he's hiding. He's like peeking. He's got a lighter that like in his hand that he was using earlier to which basically was like a torch, so he could see his way around the basement. So then the man walks in the room. He's kind of like looking around. He starts walking towards the closed casket, and right as he gets there, the tall man shows up and just kind of gestures to the guy, and they leave the room, which, okay. Mike crawls out. Mike goes into the mausoleum area. He's wandering around. He hears some banging noise. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a sphere this silver sphere just shows up, comes around the corner, bzzz, making all this crazy noise. And, the grave digger guy jumps out and grabs Mike, and they start wrestling. And then at the last second, Mike is able to dodge, and the sphere goes right into the dude's head. And these little hooks go in, and then he holds it so that, it won't fall off his head. Yeah. And then this little drill bit thing comes out and just drills into the bridge of his nose with like this little piece of putty, like wet flapping in the air. It's supposed to be skin.
I love that the little pieces of his face like shooting off. Oh, it's so good.
And then the camera pulls back. He's holding this thing. It basically obscures his whole eyes. And there's a hole in the back of the sphere, and blood is just shooting out like a hose. It's fucking amazing. It's like, this is the best idea ever. It's so good. And then Mike freaks the fuck out, of course. And the guy falls dead to the floor and pisses himself. There's like a spreading like puddle of piss on the floor. I was like, oh, that's good. That's good.
I always hate a piss take, but I will say this is one of the weirdest piss takes because it's not like a trickle. It's like someone popped a piss balloon because it doesn't like start spreading. It goes from no piss to all of a sudden, boom, here's all the piss.
It's like bucket o' piss.
Yeah.
It's great. It's fantastic.
And it catches Mike's attention. He's like, oh shit, there's piss. I should run now.
I should run. Tall man shows up. Turns out the tall man can run pretty goddamn fast. He's chasing Mike. Mike runs through a door, slams it on the tall man's hand, chops his fingers off, and his fingers shoot out goopy, viscous, yellowish blood. And he makes these weird, like, electronic cries, like, and it just goes on and on. It's so fucking good.
Yeah,
I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. It's that like regular ass, just everyday yellow mustard, and that's his blood.
It's so good. Mike retrieves one of the fingers, which is amazing. But anyway, so yeah, now the Jawas are now chasing him, or dwarves, or whatever we're supposed to be calling them. They're chasing him now, or one of them is anyway. And Mike barely escapes, but he's got the fingers. He's now at home. We cut to his house. He's sleeping on his heavily shag-carpeted stairs with the black iron railway, which is like pure 70s.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a shotgun in his hands and a little wooden box that's going like wobbling around because there's fingers in it.
Yeah.
Jody wakes up, comes out and sees Mike sleeping on the stairs, comes down, takes the shotgun, like empties the shells out, and then, oh my god, this is so weird. And then he talks to him, he sees the finger. There's that great moment where he's like, he's like, what does he say? He says, look in there, I've got one of his fingers, or something like that. And he's like, no, that can't be right. And then he opens it, he's like, it's right.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I believe you.
That's right. He's like, no, it can't be, I believe you. Yeah. And then they
it's
have their
still moving around in there. It's wiggling around in the mustard.
Pretty good effect.
Yeah.
It fills the whole damn screen. So then Jody takes off. No. There's more goodness before that happens.
Yeah.
They oh my god, I almost missed that part. That would have been sad. Yeah, he's like, okay, I believe you. So anyways, Jody takes Mike to go see the sheriff, and they before they leave, Mike checks the box one more time, just because, like picking at a scab kind of thing. I wonder if the finger is still in there. So he opens the box, and the finger has, how do I say this? Has morphed into a giant rubber hand-painted fly made out of yarn and rubber that looks so stupid and has little white painted teeth and is like buzzing and making electronic synthesizer sounds, like drill sounds, and it like attacks the kid. Then it shows Mike, he's like looking around, and then his hair gets all messed up, and the fly comes up through his hair, and he's fighting the giant stupid fly, wraps it in a towel, and then Jody shows up. Then they're wrestling the towel together, which is a grown man and a child with a towel in their hands, pretending like something is in it, trying to like fight it. And let's put it in the disposal. So they take it over to the sink and stuff it into the sink. And Mike turns on the garbage disposal. And they're like, whew, okay, well, that's done. I mean, that's no way that's coming back. So then Reggie shows up and he's like, hey, Mike, what's going on? Hey, I thought maybe you might want to come with me while I sell ice cream. I'm like,
yeah, that's right. That is what he wants him to do.
It's like, why? Why would he want to do that? I think we know why later. We figure it out, but
yeah,
because he wants to fuck him. Anyways, so the fly. Oh, guess what? The fly's not dead because Reggie keeps peeking over at the drain, and there's like a little painted fake fly eye that's like peeking out of the drain or whatever. And then it flies out of the sink and attacks, and then they kill it again. They like stomp it to death 1,000,000 times or whatever.
They get it back into the garbage disposal,
oh, yeah.
and then Jody is stabbing the garbage disposal with a knife over and over again. While Mike is like reaching across to turn on the garbage disposal, that knife is just like bam, 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 like mumbly pegging back and forth around his arm. It's impressive. A great scene. The scene where he's crawling up, it's that shot in like a comedy movie where it's like right on the kid's face, and it's like, oh, where's it coming from? Where's the sound coming from? And his hair starts mussing around from behind, and then there's like him looking back and forth but not moving his head, and then you see that it's the fly. It's the stupidest thing, and it's like it's played for a laugh, and this would be the type of thing that would be played for a laugh in any other movie, but in this one, it's played to be scary, and it's so fucking weird.
It really is weird. I love it.
It's great.
I mean, it takes balls to make something that bad. So later that night, or, could be another night, Jody decides he's going to Morningside, so he loads up the pistol, takes the pistol. He basically forces Mike to stay at home with the shotgun, because that's Mike's gun of choice now. And I'm like, where the fuck is Reggie? He was just there. Now, why is he gone? But he's gone. And he tells him to be careful on his way out. Great.
Yeah. I guess, Reggie, the people need ice cream,
Yeah, it's great because later on, Jody has the shotgun and Mike has the pistol.
Yeah, it does. It happens. And it was like, wait, when did that happen? Why?
It didn't happen.
Here, switch me.
It's like, okay, whatever.
So Jody sneaks into Morningside through the same window that Mike broke, and then he gets attacked by a Jawa. He kills it, and then decides, okay, well, he shoots the fuck out of this thing. And it's the loudest gunshot you'll ever hear in your life.
It is.
So he's like, oh, okay, my cover's been blown. So he starts running away, but then he's being chased by the funeral home automobile, which appears to not have anyone driving it. And then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, the Barracuda shows up, and it also appears to have no one driving it. And then he's like, hey, who's in there? Mike, is that you? And then, yeah, actually, it is Mike, who just wasn't visible before.
And just sat there for like 30 seconds without identifying himself, just sitting there while Jody is pointing a fucking pistol at him.
Yeah.
Or shotgun. Does he still have the pistol at that point?
I think he's still got the pistol, yeah. And it's like,
yeah, okay.
What's happening there? So he gets into the car, and then now here comes the funeral car again, and it's trying to like run them off the road. At this point, they start saying the word mother a lot. And it's very distracting and uncomfortable. And you can tell none of these actors say that in their day-to-day lives. They're like, there's no one driving that, mother.
No, it's like, okay, we get it. Enough.
Oh, stop. All right, so they're driving. Mike is driving while Jody goes out the top, and he starts shooting the pistol at the car. It's not doing a good job, so he's like, "Here, give me the shotgun." And then he's like, "And get me in close. I'm gonna shoot the engine block." And so he does that, and this causes the whole car to just expire and veer off the road. And so they stop to check. Like, oh yeah, let's check in and see. Like that was weird. Let's get out. And they see that there is it wasn't no one driving the car, it was being driven by one of the Jawas, who a branch from a tree had gone through the windshield and pinned it to death to the driver's seat. And they were like, "Oh, gross." And he pulls back the hood. It's a little miniature Tommy from the beginning of the movie.
It's so weird.
They're like, "Oh, look, it's Tommy. Weird." And then they somehow get Reggie to bring his ice cream truck there so that they can put Reggie, they can put Mini Tommy into the dry ice in Reggie's ice cream section to keep it fresh.
We killed the undead dwarf Tommy. We better put it on ice.
Yeah, we gotta keep this guy fresh for some reason. Okay, Reggie's not happy about it because he's worried about it getting mustard on his ice cream, which it's a valid concern.
It's a good point.
They go inside, and then Reggie gets jump scared by Myrtle, their maid.
I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? Why do they have a black maid?
The only black person in the whole movie. She jumps out, she says something like, "Ah!" And he screams, and he's like, "Oh, it's just you, Myrtle." And that's Exit Myrtle. Done with the movie.
We just had to get one black person in there. Let's make her the maid.
Yeah, we really want to make sure that people know that these are some I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
This is what privileged white people do in California.
Yeah, earlier in the gun scene, the gun was on the enormous mantelpiece that's covered in historic guns and like a mounted mountain lion or something. Like, it's all fucked. So Reggie's going to take Tommy home. No, I jumped ahead. Sorry. Yeah, Reggie's plan is that they should kick that guy's ass, the tall man, and then stake him like a vampire in order to get answers out of him.
Yeah.
To which Mike says, "Are you crazy? That mother's strong." It's like, okay, stop it.
These guys are not real bright.
So Jody has Reggie take Mike away to hang out with hot girls at an antique store for some reason.
Yeah, what the hell was that? Susie and Sally or whatever their names were?
Yeah, two hot blondes take him to a late night antique store. And while he's there, he finds an old photo of Morningside with the tall man in it, and then the picture zooms in on the tall man who looks at Mike and then turns away. You have to expect, he's on a horse-drawn carriage, and you'll have to expect it to, like, take off. It doesn't. That's weird. And so then he gets upset by this. He has the hot girls take him home.
I love that it zooms in.
It zooms in, and then whenever he's done looking at the photo, it's in this new position. It's not like it didn't happen.
Like, what the fuck? It's not a camera, you dipshit. It's like a haunted photograph.
It's a tablet. It's good.
Oh my god.
He has the girls take him home in their Volkswagen Beetle. Meanwhile, Reggie hears Mini Tommy thumping around in the back of the ice cream truck. The hot girls are driving Mike home when they come across Reggie's tumped-over ice cream truck. They look inside. There's a mustard handprint in a piece of ice. The Jawa attacks, gets inside the Volkswagen. It pushes Mike out the back window, and then the car drives away with the girls relentlessly screaming while being attacked by the Jawa. And now Mike is just in the middle of the dark, foggy road at night.
Those screams were the worst.
Oh, they were so bad. I hope they're dead, but they're not. Then there's this weird, like, Jody's at home and Mike is like passed out on the road, and it's like the movie's implying that Jody's having psychic time with Mike or whatever. So then Mike gets up, he runs through the fog, he gets back home. Jody doesn't say words, they just start cuddling. And then he tells Jody all about the girls and Reggie, and then Jody locks up Mike in the room by shoving a screwdriver into the door frame the wrong way, by the way. Like, that's the wrong way to wedge someone in, but apparently it is effective enough that the only way that Mike is able to get out of the room is by taking a shotgun shell apart, creating a little explosive device by packing up the gunpowder against the head of a hammer, and then hitting not the doorknob with that, but just the piece of shit door itself to explode a hole in the door that he can reach through and then pull his arm through and open the door from outside.
I love that he just happens to have a hammer on his desk, and he's, like, distraught because he doesn't know how to get through the door, which has a kick hole at the bottom of it. Yes. So, like, you could kick through the door, apparently, or you could use the hammer, or you could take a shotgun shell and push a fucking thumbtack into the firing pin, or the thing, or whatever the fuck it's called. I'm not a gun person, fuck you if you are. And then he, like, tapes it to a hammer and hits the door with it, and that somehow blows a hole in the door?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it is soon after this that we find out that apparently Mike had a pistol in his pocket while all of this was going on.
Yeah, not to mention a window in his fucking bedroom.
I know!
God damn it.
It's the stupidest thing. So this gives Jody just enough time to make it to the fucking graveyard. As Mike is leaving, the tall man is there. "I've been waiting for you," and picks up Mike and carries him away, throws him into the back of the hearse. Jody arrives at Morningside first. Mike, now suddenly with the pistol, shoots out the back window of the hearse and then shoots through the inside of the car to hit the tire, and jumps out the back window, just like what happened with the Volkswagen. But because the tire is now out, it causes the tall man to drive the hearse into a light pole, and the car explodes.
Apparently the entire car is like a contact-activated bomb. It makes no sense at all.
It's really good. It is an incendiary device.
Amazing.
At Morningside, Jody disinters a casket. We're not really sure whose. I guess Tommy's, but maybe the parents? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, no, I think it's the dad's.
Is it the dad's?
Yeah, Mike says something about it. I had to go back and because I was like, what is the deal with this fucking casket? Why does this matter so much?
Yeah. So he pulls the casket out of the little, like, tube in the mausoleum. He opens it, but then doesn't look inside the casket. He's, like, got his eyes closed and he's looking away. He opens it and then he closes it again and he says, he has to be in there.
I know. What the fuck is that? That makes no sense at all.
It doesn't.
I'm like, what is he? Did he just, like, he opens it and looks up with his eyes closed, and I'm like, did he just jizz in his pants or something? Like, jizzed in my pants. I just jizzed in my pants.
I love that old closet smell that you only get from a casket that's been closed a long time.
He must be in there. I'm listening to this horror book, and there's this scene where these kids are like, there's a pool with a big window in it, and it's in this haunted resort or this evil cursed resort or whatever. So they're in this area. It's a great book, but they're behind this big windowed off area, and they're like, there's this really bad smell in the area, but it's not urine, it's something else. and like they've been talking about like weird satanic orgies and stuff, so I'm like, are they standing in a jizz chamber? Like,
it's not urine.
Yeah. So that's what's going on with Jody. Mike enters the mausoleum, and we get like this red. It's like all red and black spherovision, pure red, pure black, no semitone, sphero-vision, because the sphere is now flying, whatever. Mike says something like, Dad, I love that cougar on the wall, whatever he says, and then he opens the casket, nothing's there, it's empty. We get a stupid fucking scream, like, no, for no reason. And then the sphere attacks, of course, and just as it's about to kill Mike, Jody runs around the corner with the shotgun that Mike's had the whole time, except when he had a pistol to shoot out the window earlier, but whatever. He shoots the sphere, which explodes in pink dust, sort of. It's like, what? Okay.
Yeah. It's like a gender reveal party, but 1979.
It's a girl sphere! They go to the door to the tall man's room, which has, like, a line of Roman profile sculpture heads over it for no apparent reason.
I'm sure it means something, but I don't know what.
It looks cool. I have no idea what it means. They're about to go in when Reg jump scares them. It's, hey guys, what's going on? Hey, you like my ponytail? It's like,
I was here.
Hey, somebody fucked up my ice cream truck. Okay. So they open the door. They're like, do we want to do this? No, we don't. And then they open the door and go in, and the first thing they see is all the visible walls from the doorway lined with these, like, black barrel things with little windows in them at the top. It's fucking crazy looking, and they're kind of like, what the, and then they walk into the room and cut a right, and then the rest of the room is all white, like just pure white, like hospital white or whatever. And then the only other thing basically are these two silver bars that are sticking up out of the floor like tuning forks. And it's so fucking stupid. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. We see the bars. We hear the cool fucking drone music. It's so great. I think it's Jody looks into the barrels, or maybe Reggie. I don't remember. But they figure out that there's dwarves in the barrels, so they're dwarf barrels. Sure,
good. Just like in The Hobbit.
Meanwhile, Mike is dicking around with the bars, and like he's like remembering that. Oh, maybe I should stick my hand in it. But fear is killer of the mind, but it's not the mind killer, but it's the killer. It will kill your mind, or whatever it's like. Just say it. Just fucking say it. So
say it. Say the dust must flow.
So then
or spice, whatever.
Yeah,
damn it, I almost got it.
The dwarf spice. So he's able to curb his fear and stick his hand into the thing, and it just vanishes like as it passes between the bars. It's such a cheesy effect, but it works.
Yeah.
And the music's all just keeps going higher and higher. And then oh man, this long past the point where all hell has broken loose, and this movie makes no goddamn sense at all.
None.
Great. So Mike gets sucked into the hole, and he's suddenly in this alternate world where the sky is pure red. It's just a red tone. There's no texture or anything. The surface of this land is all rocks, all stone. And there's this procession of Jawas slowly walking in a single file at a slight angle across the shot. It's a great shot. It looks like something out of like a Jodorowsky film or something. It's very strange looking and makes no fucking sense, but it's totally awesome. So, that happened.
And they've got the barrels. They're like carrying the barrels, so it looks like a line of ants carrying barrels, and it's like, okay, I guess so.
Oh, yeah. Sure, all right. And then a la Ghost. Not Ghost, no, a la The House. Yes. That's what I meant to say. A la The House, Jody reaches into the alternate portal thing, grabs Mike by his belt, and pulls him back into the real world on the other side of the bars, I guess. Sure.
Yeah.
Then they say some horse shit about, so the dwarves are slaves then, and that this is a gateway to their planet. what?
Yeah.
The fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I guess the implication is that they kill people and enslave them. He kills people and enslaves them by making them dwarves.
No.
But they don't really explain it at all.
I think what's happening, he kills people, shrinks them down, puts them into barrels, ships them off to Arrakis, where they turn them into slaves?
Oh, okay. It's a slave factory with spice.
Yeah.
It's a spicy slave factory.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Now, does that unlock the movie for you?
Okay, I get so, it's like, woo, it's like, here's my understanding at the beginning, and then it just opens up like a cone. It just gets wider and wider, and just like the music.
Boy.
So, dear God, the power goes out, because the power goes out.
It just goes out.
Yeah, they tell, Mike's got a lighter, and then someone says, light it up. And he lights it up and is immediately attacked by a Jawa that's standing right in front of him that nobody could have seen coming.
Yeah.
Because they're in total darkness. It's just darkness with voices, and then he lights it. Okay, great. Oh my God. And then they're like whispering to each other. It's really stupid. And then somehow Jody is now outside in front of the house. No explanation how he ended up there, but yeah, that's where he is. The power comes back on, just back on, and then Reggie ends up like he suddenly remembers the tuning fork hum. Oh, if I do that and then I do that, it's like there's some connection that they don't explain, but it's real important to Reggie.
Yeah.
Has no bearing on anything else. It's never brought up again. Has no effect on anything. In the meantime, Blonde Tits shows up out of the murky overgrowth, whatever, and is sneaking up behind Jody. She's going to stab him. Reg is in the portal room, puts his hands on the two bars, just like he put his two fingers on the tuning fork bars. And somehow stops Tits from stabbing Jody because she goes, ah! And then that's the end of that. And then sends the barrels into the gate portal while the electro hum is... The whole time all of this is happening, that tone is just rising and rising and rising. It's very tense, even though I have no fucking clue what's happening. Mike is now outside searching for Jody, and it's extremely windy. And there's obviously several people off screen with bags of leaves that they're throwing in front of a fan. Reggie goes outside, sees Tits laying on the ground right in front of the front door to the house. He goes over to check on her, kneels down, whatever. She wakes up and stabs Reggie, who bleeds really bad fake blood.
Yeah.
And then, in the meantime, he does that whole, I'm so hurt. And then Jody finds Mike. They kiss. I don't know what they do. They meet up again. They go on a wind search for Reggie. Like, they're searching, they're looking to find him. The blonde chick does the whole, it's the blonde girl. It's the tall man. So, I get it. She's the tall man. Now it's the tall man who grabs the knife, who, I guess, pulls it out of Reggie, I guess is what it was. Reggie passes out. Jody and Mike show up. They find him. The tall man drives off in the hearse. And then Jody and Mike go home. But they don't take Reggie with them or anything. They just go home. And then Jody starts talking about a mine shaft. How they should lure him. We shall lure him to the mine shaft. I don't know why. I don't know why it's just the word mine sounded German. So,
mine shaft.
We shall lure him to mine shaft.
Read my famous book, Mine Shaft.
Oh my God! Have you met my leader, Peter Cushing? So, sorry, that was a little Shockwaves reference. Mike is dropped off at home. Okay, whatever. And he's always like I like how Jody's way of protecting Mike is to just leave him somewhere.
Yeah,
because that works so well. He just drops him off at home. He's like Mike's like looking around the house. It's all dark and creepy. Pulls the curtains open. The tall man's there. Jumps through the window. Mike gets away. The tall man mind blasts his way through a door behind Mike with this blue light behind him, which is pretty awesome. And chases the boy, chases him through the house in his platform shoes. Then he joins Kiss, and they go on a tour. And wait, no, that didn't happen. Okay, that's right. There's more Mike Dune business, like where he's like, he gets stuck in the mud, and then all these grabby hands reach out of the mud and grab him. That doesn't make any sense, because it doesn't have to do with anything. Mm-hmm. And then Mike sees Tits with the knife again, runs away, leads the tall man. Somehow he's now being chased by the tall man, or Tits man, whatever, is chasing him, and apparently they're like 30 feet away from the mine shaft, because he just leads the tall man right to the mine shaft. And then the mine shaft, by the way, is a rectangular hole in the ground lined with brown fabric. Yeah. And it's like, what? And then the tall man runs into the hole, like in the pit. He's just like, oh, la, 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 oh! And then he falls into the der mine shaft, and then all these rocks, like Jody, I guess, is kicking rocks off the top of this like ledge, and they're all magically and perfectly falling into the mine shaft. Perfect, like, fit. And then the final rock that he somehow manages to cap off the mine shaft is like a boulder that probably weighed about 3,500 pounds. Like, Jesus Christ, if you were that strong, we could have used that throughout this fucking movie. So he caps off the mine, and then it's just like, it was so anticlimactic. I'm just like, where are we going with this? Like, I've seen this before, and I still don't know what's happening. And then you hear thunder. Like, you just hear thunder. I thought it was the sound of him, like he was going to burst out of the mine shaft. And I've already seen the movie, and I couldn't remember what happened. So you hear all this thunder, and then all of a sudden, whatever, Mike is in bed. He's got a really nice haircut. His hair's nice and short. He wakes up. He thinks it's a dream. He's now downstairs with Reggie right in front of this roaring fire. His hair is long again for no reason.
They're sitting way too close together.
Yeah, they're like totally like jerking each other off, and then like Mike like puts his hand on that little ponytail and pulls Reggie down. And he's like bobbing him up and down on top of him. And oh no, that didn't happen.
The ace of spades.
Oh my god! No one's born to lose. Okay, sorry. That's the way I like it, baby. I ain't gonna live forever. Okay, so then, wow, I'm really stupid.
I like that you know the lyrics so well.
I love that song.
It's a great song.
So then Reggie tells Mike this ridiculous story about how Jody is actually dead. He died in a car crash.
Yeah.
And we see Jody's grave during the day. He's Jody Pearson, or whatever the fuck his name was. He tells him that he tells Mike, you're just having a bad dream. Jody's dead. It's been a tough time for you. So, it's understandable that you would dream a weird 70s movie, but, it's just a dream. And then they start stroking each other, and, like, Jody gets out this bottle of baby oil, and he's, like, squirting it all over Reggie's, and then they're like, and then they start fucking, and... Oh, I'm sorry. What I meant to say was they make plans to hit the road. Yeah. Reggie's like, hey, let's get in your brother's car, which I guess is my car, because it remains his car through the rest of the series of movies.
Nice.
Let's get in the CUDA and fucking hit the fucking road, bro. Yeah. Come with me. All right.
Where are we going? Love.
Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
What are we going to do for money? Don't have any clue. Let's go. It's like, okay, so that's their plan. They're just going to drive around America. And then he's like, hey, go get your crap. So Jody goes to get his crap. Reg whips out his guitar and starts playing some chords and stuff. Mike, he takes a picture of his brother playing a guitar. Great. Stuffs that in his little bag. Closes the closet door. There's a mirror, and guess who's standing behind him in the reflection of the mirror? The tall man who says, "Boy," and then dwarf hands smash through the mirror and pull Mike into the dwarf land.
Yeah,
I guess. And
Arrakis.
The movie, back into Arrakis. And the movie's over.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, that's it. Nice. Yeah. Well done. Not a clue what happened, but I loved it.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah, and the beauty of this series is, I don't think I've seen all of them, but I think I've seen enough. Mm-hmm. Is that as much as he expounds on whatever the fuck is happening, by the end, because I did see Ravager, you still have no fucking clue what's going on. Angus Scrimm is now 900 years old by the time Ravager comes around, even though he's some sort of undead multiverse demonic force in platform shoes who ages like a human. It makes no sense, whatever. Yeah. But they're all great. All the movies are great. But this is an absolute classic.
Nice. Yeah, I love this. I have no idea what's going on. Is it true? Like, was it all a dream?
I don't think so, because he sees the tall man after all. Like, he goes upstairs and the tall man's there. So or maybe it was all a dream, but then the tall man, that would be the actual first appearance of the tall man?
I don't know.
I think it was the tall man fucking with him, or it was just Don Coscarelli thought it would be scary, because you would think, oh, it's the old dream canard. I totally get. Oh my god, he's behind the mirror. Like,
yes. Yeah. Apparently, his inspiration for this was he saw I forget what movie it was, but he saw like the trailer for a movie, but then the movie itself wasn't that scary, and he was like, ooh, what if I made a movie that was as scary as the trailer for the movie, but like every 5 minutes there was a moment that was as scary as the moment in the trailer. And then he made this. Instead of being like, I love horror movies, he was like, I love whatever I'm making.
I mean, I guess to be fair, the first time I saw this movie, the tall man jump scares, I mean, they're projected. It's not like, there's not a lot of finesse in this film.
Yeah.
But they are well placed, and they're every time he shows up and says "boy," it's entertaining.
Yes, yeah,
which is good, because it happens about 900 times in the next 4 movies. Oh, it's the best. Angus Rory Scrimm is the best.
So this movie was originally 3 hours long, and
oh my god. Jesus Christ.
So he cut it down to about half the size, and then they reused some of the footage for, I think, the third movie.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then the rest of it's just lost, and no one knows where that footage is.
Oh god, I hope they find it. I remembered when we were talking earlier about how Ramon had mentioned he wanted to suggest something to me. It was that's good. I like how my phone just decides to scroll to somewhere I wasn't right when I need to show you something. He, do you know who Roger Avery is? He was kind of a screenwriting partner with Tarantino.
No.
He made a movie called Killing Zoe back in the 90s. It was pretty good. But anyways, Roger Avery wrote a proposed screenplay for the Phantasm sequel. I don't know if he wrote it for his own benefit or what, but Ramon sent me the PDF to that.
Nice.
And he called it Phantasm 2013 AD. I don't know if you can even read that because of the light.
Yeah.
But Phantasm 2013 AD, screenplay by Roger Avery. So it's the whole freaking screenplay, and of course I didn't read it because I'm too lazy, but I need to read it because it's ridiculous. And then there's even like some creature drawings, it looks like here. So yeah, that's weird. I mean, that's just so out of left field. Like, Roger Avery wrote a Phantasm
the
sequel
Looney Tunes guy?
Tex Avery wrote a... That's very strange.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. I would watch that.
So, yeah. I mean, and I'm assuming he would have written it long after the actual sequel came out, because Roger Avery's probably around my age, so he probably would have been around 10 or 11 when the first movie came.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I need to write the screenplay right now.
Oh my god, this is so scary.
So I'll read that one day.
So quick note, a loose end to tie up. When Reggie appears in the mausoleum at the end, he mentions that he found the girls, that they were unkilled,
alive.
Yeah, and that he let them go, and that there was other women with them. He was like, they were there, and there were other girls too, and I let them all go. They all ran away.
So, yeah, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's cause Don Coscarelli didn't want to leave loose ends. He wanted to wrap everything up in a nice bow so that it all made sense.
And maybe if we saw the 12-hour original cut, there would be more stuff in there that fleshed it out.
Yeah, the extended I would love the extended director's cut of this.
Oh man, that's holy grail stuff right there. I just would like to point out that here where we live, which isn't Houston, Texas, it's the dead of summer, and I'm in my house with the air conditioning on, and I'm totally soaked.
Yeah.
Totally soaked.
Yep.
Like, this room, it's like there's no airflow in this room. I feel like I'm in the oven.
It sucks out there so bad.
Jesus Christ. Fuck.
We got a dog, like, a month and a half ago, and it's a puppy that needs to, like, let energy out, and we just happened to get a dog at the hottest point in recorded human history. Almost every single day has had a heat advisory that says, don't go outside or you'll die.
Translation, John, work outside for 2 or 3 hours
Jesus
every day.
Christ, don't do that.
Dude, it's fucking horrible.
No.
And then the guys are like, hey, band practice on Thursday? Because we've got this big show coming up in September, and we're playing with, like, one of our favorite bands from San Diego, and it's a big reunion show for emos and all this stuff. It's going to be great. And every time we're about to practice, I'm just like, guys, I spent like 3 hours on a forklift in the hottest part of the day. Like, I feel like I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And my car doesn't have air conditioning, so fuck that. It takes me like 45 minutes to get to the studio, and then by the time I get there, I'm like dizzy. I can't see because I've been sweating in my own eyes for an hour. I'm just like, let's rock. No. That's not happening.
For those of us about to rock, I salute we.
Get off my own lawn. It's like, fuck. Anyways.
On that topic, John, do you remember Shakespeare's Pub?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yes. That was a riot.
That was awesome. So, my girlfriend's dad retired, and then he joined a band, and they do, like, cover songs of, like, they're a cover band, but they just, like, cover all kinds of stuff. So, like,
that's cool.
Like, I just went to see their first, like, big show. Like, they've been playing Wednesdays. They play at, like, little venues, but they got their first time playing a Friday night show at a bar called the Monarch Lounge.
Wow.
And
sounds cool.
It sounds cool. And so we went there, and we were turning into the parking lot, and it's like, oh, there's a Kolache factory. It's on Memorial Drive, and you turn, and there's a Kolache. I was like, this is Shakespeare's Pub. Shakespeare's Pub is closed, and it's been it's been gentrified into the Monarch Lounge.
Oh no more weird guys who just wander in off the street and play the coolest blues you've ever heard?
Nope. Now it's all about playing those sweet golden oldies for a crowd of, when I was there, a crowd of old people dressed like Barbie and Ken.
Oh my God. No more stealing someone's cigarettes and everything he has on the table while he's in the bathroom?
Yes!
No more tracking your girlfriend down because she's lost in the doorway?
Yeah.
I don't understand how this works.
To be fair, it was a very confusing way to go inside.
It was, and we drank a lot of beer.
Yes. Yeah, and that was the last cigarette machine I've ever seen, was in their entryway. When you put in the money and you pull out the little thing and it comes out. But yeah. Rest in prose, Shakespeare's pub.
Rest in prose. Whoa.
Yeah. But yeah, so all that. The movie, yeah, right.
Yeah.
John, if you had to rate this toe-bonking, fly-in-the-hair movie on a scale of 0 to 5, loathsome of things, how would you and why?
Well, I got my 7 criteria that I use now, and this was, I'm probably rating this one kind of high because I love it so much, but when I was done, I gave it a 4.5.
Nice.
I mean, there were so many, is it horror? 5, obviously.
Yeah.
Did I enjoy it? 4.8, because it had a little,
Yeah.
Production quality, maybe 3.5. That's being generous. Effects and makeup, they're terrible, but I love them. I gave it a 5. Atmosphere, I gave it a 5. Place and horror, I gave it a 5. Writing and acting, Again, I was generous. I gave it a 3.5.
Yeah.
I didn't want to break tradition,
Yeah.
so 4.5. How about yourself?
I gave it a 4.2 out of 5.
Oh my God.
I think those 3 points are probably like at least half just because I don't have nostalgia for this movie. But
yeah.
I mean, it's fucking great. It's not like anything else I've ever seen. It's like other things that I've seen got smashed together, but in a very unique new way. And it's fucking great. It's confusing as hell to watch. I understood it more whenever I sat down and was paying attention and taking notes, but I didn't understand it, so you could really watch it either way.
That's true. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. If you want to feel baffled but impressed, watch this movie while you're doing something else. You'll be like, what the fuck? What? Oh, I don't know.
I just looked away for 30 seconds.
Yeah. I must have missed something.
Oh, yeah. That's a good score, though. 8.7? That's
8.7.
Damn.
I don't know if it cracks the top 10. I don't have that in front of me, and if I pull it up in front of me, our thing will crash.
Excellent.
So I'm not going to pull that up. I don't think it does. I think all of our top 10 are like in the 9s and above, but this one's close. It's a really unique movie. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't not recommend it. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Did you see any other horror stuff? I've been listening to the Bentley Little books. Bentley Little is an American horror author he's got like 30 novels or something like that. They're all kind of similar in their own way, but he's one of those guys. He won the Bram Stoker Award for Breast's new novel.
Oh yeah.
In his first novel, or best first novel, and it was that's the one I'm listening to now, The Revelation, about the weird evil resort out in the middle of the Arizona desert. He was born in Arizona and he lives in Southern California, so those two places are featured prominently in a lot of his books. And I like horror movies that have like I just finished one that was it was based around a colony of Russian separatists, sort of. They're like this Christian group called the Molokans, which is, I had to look it up. There's like a real thing. And a Molokan means milk drinker because they used to drink milk as part of some sort of ritual that they would do. So, and this is a real thing. And so a bunch of them settled in Arizona because they were, being ostracized by the communists, of course.
Yeah.
And so it it's based around this mythological creature, this house deity that they have called a Modavoy or something like that. He gives it a different name in the book. So then there's that whole thing going on, and then there's some sort of evil that's killing people and all this crazy shit, and then there's like Mormons in the town, and then there's the locals in the town who hate everybody, and it all comes to a head because they're all being influenced by some evil force, and it's just very strange. But I've been listening to a lot of his books lately and loving all of them, so that's been a good time.
Awesome.
But, yeah, that's about it as far as horror media.
I do have a horror recommendation for all the buckaroos out there.
Yeah.
Chuck Tingle's new novel, Camp Damascus, is out, and it's apparently a lot of people are getting really excited about it. It features a neurodivergent main character from their perspective, and so you get like a autistic main character main character from their own perspective. If you're not familiar with Chuck Tingle, he wrote such amazing novels as Helicopter Man Pounds Dinosaur Billionaire Ass.
Oh.
He writes a lot of erotic like half dinosaur people, half horse people, and a lot of erotica surrounding inanimate objects, and he's really fucking awesome.
That's amazing. I've never read any of that stuff, but that sounds hilarious.
Yeah, he's a really cool dude too. He shows up to like events. He's got like a weird like bag that he wears over his face. So go check that out, and check us out in 2 weeks. Oh, I closed the fucking thing when we review
a movie.
Let's see.
Which
so the way this movie ends is it a dream, is it not a dream? So I figured we should probably dive into that and see if maybe there's a movie that could help shed light on what's going on at the end of this movie. So I figured the best thing we could do is move into the 1989 college grade film about dreams. It's Jay Wolfel's Beyond Dreams Door. Alright, so tune in 2 weeks from today when we review that, and I'm sorry John has to die at the end.